It is Saturday morning. We went to Trader Joe's and Whole Foods last night, but we didn't get home until 10 o'clock, and I needed to record my haul and put everything away, so I left some stuff out to do this morning. I have my loaves of bread that I got from Trader Joe's, and I put them in Ziploc bags to put in the freezer. I like to do that so that they don't get any freezer burn, but I definitely reuse those. So I'm going to pop those in the freezer. And then over here, I have tons of ripe bananas I got at Trader Joe's. They had a lot of ripe ones, which was great for smoothies. So I am going to freeze these. John mentioned that he wanted to start drinking smoothies, and my boys really like them as well. So I will be going through a lot of bananas. So I want to make sure they are nice and thick for smoothies. And then I have my usual lineup of fruit. I need to take the stickers off and wash all of this and put it in my baskets. And I'm going to wait to prep the peppers. I showed in my last food prep video how I blanch them to freeze them, but I'm going to be using a lot of them in dinner, so I might not need to freeze them at all. But you guys have seen me wash all of this, but that's what I'm going to do, and just put everything away. I thought I would show you inside of my freezer. I have my bread stacked here, and then the bananas in layers. So if you lay them flat, they aren't going to stick together much. And then you can move them around after you freeze them. But yeah, I just stack them in layers and then wait until they freeze, and then you can move them. It is Sunday, and I am going to cut some of our fruit. I have mango and a papaya here to cut. I've never cut a papaya before, so we'll see how that turns out. And I'm also going to make a big batch of popcorn so that my guys can have some for their lunches for a couple days. Okay, I have a bowl of mango and a bowl of papaya. I didn't show myself cutting it because I was kind of trying to figure it out. But I am just going to keep these in the refrigerator. I need to get some more little containers. I don't know what happened to all of mine, but normally I divide my fruit up into individual containers, but I only have a couple in my cabinet, so I'm not sure where they all went. So I need to stop by the Dollar Tree and get some more, but hopefully this will last for more than a couple hours. Okay, now I'm going to make some popcorn. I am going to make a ton because my guys can go through that really quickly, and I want a little bit left over for their lunches tomorrow. I've shown how to make this a couple of times, but in case you haven't watched, I'm just going to make it over on the stovetop here. So I put in about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil because I'm going to make a lot, and I'm just waiting for it to liquefy. And then all you need to do is put a couple kernels of popcorn in there. This is just to make sure it gets hot enough. Then you're just going to add your lid and wait for those to pop, and then once they pop you can add the rest of your popcorn. And to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil I'm going to add 1 cup of kernels, and that's going to make a ton of popcorn, and I think I'm actually going to make 2 of those because I want a lot. My guys will probably have some for a snack, and then I can make some for their lunches and stuff to have some for a couple days. It does taste better when it's freshly made, but that won't work if they're packing a lunch. I have a few extra bags of popcorn in my pantry. Okay, these guys are popped, so I'm going to add the rest of my kernels. And I know I've shown this a couple of times, but I still get asked a lot of things because I still have new people watching, and some people don't watch all of the food prep videos, so I'll just take a minute and show you. And then once you put all the kernels in, you put the lid back on, and then you're just going to shake it over the stovetop until it quits popping. It takes a couple minutes. It won't start popping right away. It has to get nice and hot. You have to shake it the whole time too, or it will burn. So that is how much popcorn 1 cup of kernels makes. I am going to add some sea salt, and I'm actually going to make another batch because I think my guys will want to eat this. These are the snacks that I divided up for my guys. This makes it easy for when they pack lunches and if they want to grab a snack. And I have found that the snacks last a little longer if I divide them up instead of just opening the bag and then someone eats half the bag. So we have some popcorn that I just popped, some of the whole wheat sesame sticks from Whole Foods. These are in the bulk section. And then I divided some of the 50% less salted peanuts for my guys. So they will have those. And then we have apples, oranges, mango, and papaya for snacks. I had a few requests to show how I cook my dried beans that I got at Whole Foods. So I'm going to cook one type of beans at a time. So I'm going to make a lot of each type and then freeze them, and that way I can use them when I need them and I don't have to keep, making them. I plan to cook them in the slow cooker because that seems like the easiest way to do it, and from what I've read, beans do really well if you cook them for a long time over low heat, and if you use the slow cooker you can just put them in there and you don't have to worry about it. So I actually have 4 cups of black beans here, and they usually make 3 times the amount, so it's going to make a ton, but we do like our black beans, and I'm going to put them in the freezer. We might not even use all of them this month, but they'll be fine in the freezer. So I am just going to here, that'll be kind of loud, and I'm going to rinse them and make sure there aren't any like tiny stones or anything, and just rinse them really well. Now that my beans are rinsed, I added them to a large bowl and covered them with a couple inches of water, and I'm going to let them soak overnight. I did want to mention I have a really big slow cooker, so everything will fit in there and they are going to expand. So if you don't have a larger one, if you just have like a 4 or 5 quart one, you might not want to use as many black beans. My beans have soaked overnight, so I'm going to drain them. You definitely don't want to use the same water that they were soaking in, and I'm going to get ready to put them in the slow cooker. I have all of my black beans drained and in my slow cooker. I have a 7-quart slow cooker, so if you make this many you'll have to use a larger slow cooker, but you can definitely use half the amount and use a smaller slow cooker. I am going to cover them with a couple inches of water. I'm also going to add a couple teaspoons of sea salt, probably just 2 teaspoons of sea salt. And I'm just going to mix it in a little bit and cover it and cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. My beans have been cooking for almost 8 hours and they are still not tender enough. I think they're just going to take extra time because of this huge amount and this huge slow cooker. But if you are using a smaller slow cooker, they should take 6 to 8 hours. So I'm just going to let them cook until they're done. My beans are finally done cooking. They took a really long time. I know if you use a smaller slow cooker, they should take only 6 to 8 hours, but they took about 13 hours in this giant slow cooker. And when I use it to cook regular meals, everything takes a lot longer. So yeah, it took a long time. So if you're not familiar with cooking dry beans, I would say cook a smaller amount in a smaller slow cooker for 6 to 8 hours. So I've let them cool for a long time so they're nice and cool, and I am going to freeze them. So I have 1-quart freezer bags here. I'm going to put 1 cup in some of them so that I can pull them out for lunches, and I'm going to put 2 cups of beans in some of the freezer bags to use for dinners and things, and it made a ton. I will let you know exactly how much I have, but I would think at least 12 cups. So I saved a lot of money by doing this, and really it took a long time, but I didn't have to do anything to it. It was just in the slow cooker. So I think what I'll do is measure them in this measuring cup and then put a bag in this bowl to try to pour them in there, and then I'm going to label how much is in there and what kind of beans they are for my freezer. So I ended up with 11 cups of black beans. I have 3 bags with 2 cups each, and then 3 bags with 1 cup each. I thought I would use these for lunches, and then also if I just want to add some black beans in with a recipe instead of having the whole 2 cups, I could do that. And we are having black beans tomorrow, so I just put these in a bowl and I'll put them in the refrigerator. And I am going to store these in the freezer flat, and that way they won't take up as much room. It is Thursday, and I wanted to make a little treat for my boys that was healthy. I am going to make banana ice cream. It isn't technically ice cream, the only ingredient is bananas, and you might have seen the video that I did on this a while ago, or you might have seen this floating around on Pinterest, but all you need is bananas, and I like to slice them and put them on cookie sheets lined with parchment paper, and after they are frozen, when you process them, they have the consistency of soft serve ice cream, and it's nice and sweet because of the bananas. You can also add coconut powder or strawberries or anything to the bananas to have a more flavored type of ice cream, but I think it's great just with the bananas. So I am going to go ahead and slice my 7 bananas. You can use however many you want. I just know that my guys will probably go through this pretty quickly, so I wanted to make sure I made a decent amount. These are all of my bananas sliced. I usually cut them probably in about 1/2 inch slices, and you're just going to pop them in the freezer for a couple of hours until they are frozen. My bananas are nice and hard, and all I'm going to do is add them to the food processor and process them until they're nice and smooth and creamy. I have all of my bananas in there, and it started processing the second I plugged it in, so it takes a few minutes before it gets nice and creamy. Have to be a little patient with this. It really does work. See how it's getting creamy down here? It just takes a while, so just give it time. So there it is. That creamy yumminess is only bananas. So you can eat it like this. It's very soft and creamy, or you can freeze it for a little while if you want it a little harder. Because I made so much, of course I'm going to be freezing some of it. You can do individual containers, especially if you're counting calories. So if you put, 5 bananas in here, just divide it into 5 containers, small containers, and that way you know that you just had 1 banana per container, so you can do your calories that way. Or you can just put it all in one big container and scoop it out just like you would with ice cream.